felt dirt hit me.
Welcome to the Hall of the Guildmasters. Alright, the topic of today. Yeah, the topic of today, we're going to be talking about player backstories and why creating backstories are important, not just to the DM, but to the players, and how it adds depth to the overall game.
Right.
So, initial thoughts?
I mean, I've played a lot of sessions, played one-hit sessions, and I played through our campaigns, and I feel a lot more attached to my characters that have backstory.
Yeah.
For one, I mean, it's a whole nother level. To make a character and just put stats on it, you're just playing a block character. You know what I mean? When you develop a backstory, you know, what happened to their family, why are they with the group,
right.
Everything like that. All their enemies, their flaws. You get to play your character as them. You know what I mean? Instead of playing as a block character.
Right.
Yeah. So
It's just like if you were to go and get a pet. You name that pet, you're immediately attached to it because you named it, and it's yours forever now.
right.
Yes, that's a good point.
It doesn't have to be a crazy backstory right away. Think through when you're doing your session, or
Yeah.
like just something simple. Oh, maybe I was from this part of the state that he just created, and it's like corrupt or something, and
Right.
I was getting out of there, sneaking out.
Yeah.
And I'm like a high lord or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, so to kind of segue this into how to make a good backstory for your character, I would say the first thing I usually ask players is, have you ever played Skyrim before? Because you've got three paths. You a fighter, magic dude, or sneaky stealth, shoot him in the butt guy. You know, like, where do you want to... Because generally the classes kind of fall under the, you know, there's a little overlap, but it's like, there's the rogue ranger, there's all the magic people, there's all the stabby people, paladin's in the middle, cleric could be, you know, friggin' monk is kind of, you know, it just, the point is, you know, what kind of a player do you want to, it's usually like, how do you want to fight, how do you want to be, or I'll just say, start with something you want your player to be good at.
Right.
Or maybe something you want their character to be bad at, you know, if you want your guy to just not know how to jump or something, you know, or he never runs anywhere, you know, like you can make a funny character, but if you're like, I want to make a character, like when I made my first character, it was like, I want him to be like, kind of like a silver tongue, like kind of like he can talk his way through anything, kind of shady, but he can talk his way through, and I was like looking at the classes, I was like, okay, so I want my charisma high, and then I was like, oh, well if you make a warlock, they do magic on charisma, cool, that fits, you know, and then I ended up choosing, I think like a half elf because they get a bonus in charisma. And there you go. You know, you kind of got...
Or you could be a naked monk surfing on a turtle.
We have a member who does that.
I mean,
Thank you, Austin.
It is pretty good at developing a backstory.
It is. Yeah.
Everybody's like, who's that guy? And you can tell them because you have everything about it.
Yeah.
You've made it all up.
Yeah. And honestly, it's kind of like, where'd they come from? You know, where are they going to go? But, and yeah, like what is
the
it? It might be. It could be. Yeah, what's wrong with his eyes? Yeah, and you could, the other thing too is like, you know, where did they come from, like in the sense like, what was their family backstory, where are their parents, did they know anything about their parents, you know? And it's kind of funny how every character immediately wants their parents dead. Or they're an orphan.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Yeah, all my characters.
But...
It's an ultimate reason.
Yeah, but like,
it's a basic ultimate reason.
I had two players. One player who their parents were kidnapped, and he's trying to find them. Oh my gosh, that was awesome! Because there's so much stuff to work with. Yeah. And the other one is, they're like, yeah, my parents are fine. There's nothing wrong with my home life. You know, my dad served as this soldier knight guy, and then he got beat by this, like, you know, evil ruler, and then he took the family sword and, like, beat this guy back, and so it was like his turn to assume the mantle of his house, you know, and it's like, cool, all right, that works. Yeah. And you could still have something with their family later on, or you don't need to, but, you know, it's, but if there's more ambiguity of who the parents are of the character, or where they came from,
right,
there's a lot more fun for the DM to figure out, or like, you know, your one character, it's like his mentor, there's like a lot of stuff about it that his character doesn't know about, but it's like, you know, like, you can, yeah, the DM they're gonna love if you develop a backstory for your character because that's stuff that they know how to integrate your character into the world.
Yeah.
You know, they know how to make it not just their game, but the game for everyone.
Yeah, definitely talk with your DM, and maybe they'll throw some ideas at you that you wouldn't have thought of.
Well, and they give you an opportunity to have setting because you're not,
Oh,
especially if you first started the game and you don't even have a map yet. You know, by making your backstory, you might even be able to make part of the setting of the map. Or if the DM's already got plans, he or she can help you with where things go on in your backstory. You know, if you have traumatic events, it happened at High Rock. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to make like a nature druid, well, there's this super magic forest here, and maybe you came from there. Or maybe it could be like you grew up in the city and you just learned your love for nature like a week or a month ago, you know, like, and you're like, oh, this is awesome, you know? You're out there huffing flowers and stuff, but yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think backstory is really important. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said in the beginning, we played a lot of characters that are block characters. We played a lot of backstories, and I prefer playing backstory characters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You feel more attached to them.
Yeah.
And I think the party feels more attached to them. Not just the DM, but the rest of your party members. You know, when you guys are in a situation where you're talking and maybe there's a traumatic event that happens with the party and they're trying to like open up to each other, then you can actually your character's telling them what's happened in their previous events, and now all of a sudden that character specifically has a better bond with another character. One of my characters has a really good example of that.
Yeah.
But it does add a lot to the story, and not just the main storyline that you're following in your guys' campaign. It makes that branch so much deeper. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah, I think I've made a background for every character I've played so far.
Yeah, it's fun.
The one shots and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It just makes your character stronger, I feel.
Yeah.
It makes them alive, you know, and it makes you know kind of how to play them too, because you know how they are.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is just it doesn't have to be the longest thing in the world. It could be if you want,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be. You know, you could, but yeah, if you can write out just like half a page of paper, just like a couple things about your character, or you know, just kind of come up with some cool, and two, it doesn't have to necessarily be the first session either. You know, you could be like, I'm not sure how I want to play this character, and then after you get used to the world, you're like, ooh, maybe my character was this or part of this or did that, you know, and especially if you have a character that's a little older, like not 15, 16, 25, like they're like 41, 58.
Achilles?
They've seen stuff. Yeah.
Seen stuff?
Yeah. You know, that's
400-year-old dwarf that's 3,000 years old.
yeah. Or 10,000 maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean Achilles is a good example that has very limited backstory. There's talk about his family getting murdered by by a group of legionnaires, and that's pretty much everybody knows about his backstory.
Yeah.
And really, I only know so much after that, and it's really not that deep. But you can assume after his play and those events happening, you know, as the party, you can assume how he's going to behave during situations. And it does help a lot when you guys are in situations and you're like trying to make a plan on how to attack the enemy or how to engage with them, like conversingly. The party can anticipate what your direction is going to be. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
As I say, I think one of the coolest backstories that I've ever heard, and it's from, I want to talk about Anorak, is just the general idea of, you know, our one friend who plays with us kind of likes to use the same wizard, like depending on, he's played a bunch of one-shots, so he likes bringing the same wizard, but it's like the thought process behind it is like this wizard in this world ends up becoming so powerful, and then he like limits himself and like he like dimensional teleports to a different, you know, dimension, and then he like limits himself to become the ultimate wizard again, and it's like this cycle that is just like, you don't know how old he is, and there's so much there.
Reincarnation in dimensions.
Yeah, yeah, kind of.
Right.
Yeah, you could have a lot of fun with stuff like that.
Yeah.
But either way.
I think backstories are really important, and I think you guys should probably implement them in all your places.
Yeah. Tell us in the comments about some cool backstories that you guys have come up with in the past. We want to hear about that.
Yeah. Thank you.